All right, Shaun, always a pleasure having you on Sports Extra. But first and foremost, maybe your general thoughts, your assessment this last Saturday. Heavy defeat to a Zimbabwe A side, but I guess you kind of expected that after the long layoff, eh?
No, definitely. Thanks for having me. The game was something that we knew was going to be tough. We were glad to have that opportunity. We've just launched our Grassroots to Greatness program. Netbank has come on board to support that, so we're grateful to them. So we're 4 weeks into that program, and we were hopeful that we would be involved in the sevens. Unfortunately, due to circumstances, we were not allowed to play in that tournament. But yeah, Pete then came along and with his preps for his year-end tour, and asked us to put up a team. And with a layoff since April, obviously was going to be a tough encounter. But based on our program that we've put in play, we thought it would be beneficial to us to get stats, game stats, basically on an off-season basis, so that we can use that as a benchmark. Yes, we do have stats from April, from our last tournament, that we will try and infuse and sort of give ourselves a guide on where we need to go going to next year's Barts tournament.
All right, and I mean, just touching a little bit on the Barts tournament before we get to the Grassroots to Greatness. Of course, it was a little bit of a painful experience losing out on the trophy on home turf. What has been the general mind now from that, lessons drawn, and ultimately trying to move forward?
I think we had just a reflecting on the planning, the process that we had put into play for the Barts 2024. I think we had ticked all our boxes. The major box that we had not ticked was the mental side. I think the group that came in this year was a young group for a reason. That was part of our strategies because we were aiming to go to the Junior World Trophy and hopefully do well to get into the championship. So the young team would have made the process work well, as we would have had 2 years with the group. But that being said, that hurdle was not crossed, and we've now had to take a step back and review what we went through. And then we've come up with a solution that we had not engaged mentally with the players. They felt that coming into the system, inheriting two African back-to-back titles, and gave them the right to be African champions, but did not want to work for it. But yeah, that being said, it gave us an opportunity to go back to the drawing board. We then came up with the Grassroots to Greatness plan. Netbank has definitely supported us well as we've just rolled out the program now. We've now got a gym program at Grip Gym, thanks to them, the country club. They've also come on board to support and subsidize the gym costs for this program. So yeah, I think it then gives us the platform to assess, to analyze, to build the players that we already had in our system, to also give us the opportunity to reach out to the provinces, to look for gems, the guys that have come out of the school system that sort of don't have that guidance to polish that gem, to fine tune that athlete. And that's what the Grassroots to Greatness program is about, to go out there, reach out, identify talent, bring it into the high performance program, and hopefully make them elite national team players.
All right, you've already begun to touch on that as we're obviously going to talk about it. So, Grassroots to Greatness, I mean, what brought about this idea of Grassroots to Greatness? Was it also just a general feeling that maybe youngsters are coming into your setup not necessarily prepared or not necessarily well shaped for the demands of the level at which you will obviously know your players will be exposed to?
Definitely, I think that was one of our major concerns. Having experienced the Junior World Trophy last year, there's a lot of takeaways that we came back with, learning from Scotland, from the Uruguays, stuff that they shared with us. It just gave us a food for thought, and looking at their programs that they have back home, sort of gave us this idea to come up with this program to sort of dig in more Yes, we do have a good number of athletes that come into our program, but I think there was need for us to go out and dig deeper and just build that depth chart, so to speak. Looking at the senior team winning the Africa Cup after 12 years, it also gave us as the under 20 franchise food for thought to say, okay, fine, how do we continuously feed players into the senior setup? Yes, if we focus on our tournaments, we're then looking at 30, 40 players. But what happens to the 100 and some odd players that are coming out of the school system that still want to participate at elite level? Do we just throw them to the wayside? I think that's not the way. Some guys are late developers, and some guys just come from systems that are not as fine-tuned as others. So we feel that the Grassroots to Greatness program will definitely be a pathway for these athletes that are late developers that will come in and we fine-tune them. The other thing with the Grassroots to Greatness, Nedbank felt that sponsors normally come in towards tournament. We've had conversation with the SRC, and we keep aligning to this podium performance ideology. But how do we get a podium performing athlete if we are not supporting his pathway to the tournament? So I think it's become a win-win. Nedbank has seen that this could work, and supporting the Grassroots to Greatness will be a foundation to build the athletes from the gem to the finished product, hopefully getting this athlete not just to perform for the national team on the rugby field, but open up doors, opportunities for university, for employment as a contracted professional rugby athlete. So I think it's a huge program. Our pillars are strong in that direction to not just focus on the athlete playing for the junior Sables, but the holistic athlete, the mental side of it, the wellness side, and then the future. After he's done with his 2-year span with us, what next? So we're trying to complete that whole puzzle and make it an attractive franchise to be involved with.
All right, Shaun. So very interesting. So whilst we're talking about podium performance and trying to build that pathway, how best can we get some of that support to come in to build on that?
I think yes, as we said, Nedbank has come in to support the Grassroots to Greatness initiative, but obviously we still need more support. If we're going to get guys into the gym, into a high performance environment, we now need to support them with nutrition. The right nutrition will come in and add value. If we just put them into a high performance environment and they're not eating right, we're not going to win anything. NutriActive have come on board and they've pledged to support us. We're hopeful that other players would come in and support on the nutrition side, not necessarily in money terms, but maybe product, just giving us the right products so that the boys can be eating right, and it can be a win-win within the training structures, and it then gives us the holistic picture that we have put in the right work, we are doing the right things, we tick in the right boxes, and then ultimately it's just left to the coaches to focus on the technical and tactical side of the athlete, which is a part of this pathway of the Grassroots to Greatness program.
Interesting stuff. Now, of course, I know you've got a busy schedule, but before I do let you go, obviously you've got the Butters Trophy, which you've begun to prepare for. And it's also been, I'm sure, very interesting for you to see many of your youngsters which you worked with over the last, we can say, 3 to 4 years now, beginning to knock on the door or even beginning to play for the Sables and the Cheetahs. How does that make you feel as a technical team to have bred these youngsters, to have put in the hard work as well?
I think it's something that we definitely cherish. We feel, I think we have the most pride and excitement when some of the players coming out of our program are called up into the national setups in the Cheetahs or the Sables. We're the most excited. I think we're more excited than the players themselves because we know what we've put in, the time that we spend with them, the molding that we have to sort of guide and fine tune. Some athletes will actually change their playing positions. They come out of school playing in a certain role, but then we see something different, and we're not just looking at a schoolboy winning team, but we're looking at an athlete that's going to go into a university setup, in a professional setup, and what will be beneficial for them as a rugby player. So those are the things that we then sort of knock heads on, and we argue, deliberate as a technical team. But the end game is the athlete. We player focused, and I think that's what gives us the drive to keep going. And when these players get recognized, it just keeps us wanting to do more.
Well, of course, we're wishing you the very best within your Grassroots to Greatness program, and hoping that that will continuously grow, maybe something that might be adopted on a larger scale, with the Zimbabwe Rugby Union looking now to spread its wings, massive coaching development program that's going on, and things like that. But we wish you the very best.
Thank you. The thing is, I think just to elaborate more on the Grassroots to Greatness plan, it's about a player pathway development. It's also a coaching development. We also look at the medical side, the refereeing side. Within the provincial structures, we want to mentor young coaches that are coming in within the provinces. Hopefully, we'll roll out our blueprint to these provinces so that everyone is in sync. The clubs start playing the same way that the national franchise is focusing on playing, and then it's a win-win. We don't get any athletes that are coming into the high performance setup knowing and understanding what we want to achieve. They're not coming in and then get a shock as if it's different worlds. We just want them to slide in, come in, showcase what they can do, and put their hands up and get opportunities.
I'll definitely be looking forward to that, but of course, wishing you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.